Hey guys, welcome back to Camp Google Educator. In this episode here, we're going to be talking about and looking at Google Forms. So in this video, we're going to do a quick little rundown about Google Forms and what it's used for and what will be expected of you on the test as well. When we get together during our next meeting, you're actually going to go through and earn your merit badge by doing some hands-on work with myself and James in our other sections. So let's dive into Google Forms. So what are Google Forms great for? First of all, I know that we use them all the time around here. We use them for administration type things, for surveys, to get information from people. But our students can use these as well. They can use these to gather information in their classrooms and for other things that they're doing in their core classes, in their specialist classes, even in their extracurricular classes as well. So once again, great way for you to stay organized as well, to get the information, because everything saves to a Google Sheet. Then we'll be talking about that in the next video. You can customize it and personalize the forms. You can do different pictures, do different backgrounds and things like that, and add all kinds of questions on there. We'll talk about that here in a second as well. The responses, they can be automatically collected, and they automatically collect your email addresses as well. Definitely they can use it to do student quizzes and different types of data as well. Really good for formative assessing in the classroom when you're trying to get that quantitative data. So it's really, really good stuff right there. So what we're going to look at today is going through and creating the different parts of the Google form, and I'm going to step you through how to add video and audio, add video to your form, the different questions that you're able to use inside of your form, how to collect those responses, and then also add collaborators to your form as well, so that way you can work together on a form, and then of course sharing that form out with everyone else. All right, so let's dive right on in. So here I have an untitled form. Okay, forms are created inside of your Google Drive. I suggest you create anything in your Google Drive that you make. Make sure that you are in the folder that you want to create to, or you can just move it after that. But for me, organizational wise, I make sure that I'm in the folder or in the place where I want to create the particular material, whether it's a doc, sheet, or form, and I make it in there. And then you have your form responses. This is where you can go in, and we'll show you here in a minute where those responses can go. So you can view responses right inside of Google Forms, or you can have those responses go out to a Google Sheet. Going across the top up here, you have your add-ons. There's your choice eliminators, form notification, things like that. Here's where you can customize your form. This is where you can give it different colors. You can get that blue, maybe that rocket. No, it's more purple. We'll go with the blue there. Or of course, U of H red. Oh, that's not even red at all. But you're able to go in and also choose pictures and things like that as well if you want. This is where I go in and I preview my form, what it's going to look like when I send it out to everyone. And then here are all my form settings. So from here, this is where I'm able to check the collect email addresses that I talked about a little bit earlier ago. And then also I can restrict just to Robinson people. So if this is checked and I'm sending this out to my parents, remember, they won't be able to submit or view or use the form. So we got to make sure that's unchecked. This is where you're able to go in and limit that response. If you want them to respond to more, if you want them to submit more than one response, I'd go ahead and leave that unchecked. But if not, go ahead and check that one time. Otherwise, you're going to get a whole bunch of different responses from the same person. Now, this is the big one here. Do you want them to be able to edit after they submit? So after they submit, they're able to go back to that form that they just did and click. There's a button there that says edit after you can edit your form. And so they click on that, it brings the form back up so then they can change their answer if they want to. And then, of course, if you want them to see a summary of the information that was sent in, they can do that as well. So say if you want your students to see a summary of it, or you want the other staff members to see a summary of the results, they can see that as well. So that is underneath our general tab. Underneath our presentation, there's a progress bar. And when I say presentation, that's what the people who are going to use your form, this is what they'll see. Underneath the presentation, there's a progress bar. You can shuffle the questions, especially if you're doing a quiz and you want everyone to get a different quiz. This is what that will do. And then, of course, you have to show a link to submit other responses. That's always there. You've always seen that as well. The last thing here that you can add is if you want your teachers or your students to know, hey, you've submitted the form, this is what you do next, or this information will be going this place, or a certificate will be sent out to you further notice. Any information that you want them to have after they submit the form. Here's my send. So when I hit send, here are all the different ways I can share this form out to everyone. So I can automatically collect respondents, Robinsonize the email addresses. So all the emails that I'm receiving, or everyone who logs in to take this test, I can go ahead and collect their things, especially if, teachers. I tend to have that on, or even students. Just in case if you don't want to put a question that says first name, last name, you can go ahead and do that, and it'll tell you their first name, last name as well. I can send it via email. I can get a link, or one of my favorites, I can do an embed code. So those are pretty fun as well. So that way it's in line with the website or in line with Schoology. I can go ahead and take that link and put it inside of my site or inside of my page. And then it doesn't open up a new tab, but it opens up and they answer the question right in there. So that's what that embed code will do. And then I can share all these different social networks, of course, our favorite, via Twitter. So if you want to put something out there for your parents or for staff or just any general information, you can put a Google form right inside of Twitter as well. And then here's all the information. Every time you click on it, this is what you will get if you want to send that form out. So you have to make sure you fill that out. Now, if you want to add collaborators, this is what I talked about earlier. So if you and another person are working on a form, this is where you would add their email address, just like you would when you're sharing something. So this gives them the actual use of the form so they can edit it. This here, the regular send, just sends the form to the people. This is where I can get that link and post it in the email that I want them to actually use the form and answer the questions on the form. So remember that. Add collaborators means the people who are working on the form at the same time as you. If I don't want them to work on it and I don't want anybody to edit it, this is where I would actually go in and send this form via email, the embed code, whatever, people who I want to answer or respond to my form. So last but not least, you have your more up here where you can do your undo, make a copy, move the trash, all the things that you want. You can even print your form out. Once again, here you can add collaborators, and then you get really, really into it if you want to start editing the script of the form, making your own add-ons, things like that. And of course, here are your preferences to your form as well, where you collect all email address. So they come in and they have different places where you can do kind of like the same thing. So like I said, these are default settings in here. Okay. All right, so real quick, we'll jump into the different questions that you are able to add in my form. So if I hit the plus sign, here's my first question over here. I can add an image to my question. Grab that from Google or from by URL. I can do a search, upload. I like books. And there's the image of my books right there for me. I can even resize that because it's kind of big. So if I want them to respond to the particular image in there, I can as well. Or if I have an image of the things that we may have in our makerspace. That way people kind of get a view. Well, what is that? I don't understand what that is. Well, there it is. That's what that looks like. That's what a Ozobot looks like, things like that. So I can do a short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, drop down. If you want them to upload a file, the reason why it's grayed out is because of my options that I have in there. So that's why that is not available right now. And then the linear scale, multiple choice grid, checkbox, my date and time type of questions in there. So that way they can either select a date or they can select the time right inside of my form. Here's where I can add just a straight up title. If there's a different section to my form, I want to break up my question from this section of the form is over this and this section of the form is over that. I can add a title question right there. I can add an image. Once again, just an image, not a question. If I just want an image, I can add that as well. If I just want to add a YouTube video, I can do that as well. Or paste the YouTube video. I can search for that YouTube video here or paste it, and it'll paste it right in line with my form. I like that. I use that every now and then, especially with discussion posts. It's pretty cool. And then I can add a section to my form as well. Now, you won't be asked to add any sections on your quiz, but you will be asked to add a video and an image inside of your form. So just keep that in mind as you're working through. Like I said, we'll work through this together. Okay, so that was Google Forms. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through and earn your merit badge next time when we get together for our meeting here, where you will have to go through and actually do all the different options and things that I kind of walked you through a little bit. I wanted to make it as short video as possible for you to go through and learn and kind of watch and see. And then you will be able to actually create your form and then participate in an interactive part where you will actually have to do it on the test when we take the test. So remember, everything that we do here is for you to gain understanding, to help your teachers, and to even help students, but to also know what it is that you're looking at and what you're when you're in a teacher's classroom and evaluating as well. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.